growth therapy. Mike, yellow.
Hello.
Oh my God, it's working.
It's working. That's so Raven.
It's the future I can see.
That's so
It's
Raven.
mysterious to me.
Yeah. Yep.
That's me.
And on this episode of Bro Girl Therapy, we are going to look into your future.
Because you know what, bitch? I need it.
Amen. We all do.
Okay, let's get into it. Hi, guys. It's me, Stefanie Maegan, your host of Bro Girl Therapy. And we have the lovely, he's back. And it's not virtual, but he's back. Astro Daddy, a.k.a. Danny Santos. And the Crystal Visions.
That's me, baby. I'm here. I'm here.
You haven't been on the pod. Well, we did a virtual one, and it was like very deep and demure and sad. Okay, sorry, we didn't stop saying demure.
So demure, so mindful.
It was so like deep and like emotional, and it was like a virtual episode, which is
not
like
the same when you're in person.
It's just not the same.
It's not the same.
Because the vibes need to be vibing.
And they weren't vibing because I was in Michigan and I was a little depressed while living over there.
And I obviously was depressed too because I cried.
Yeah, it was an emotional episode for both of us.
It was. Like, what the fuck? There was something, and I still stand by it. There was something in the air around like the holidays and like early this year. Like, yes. I felt like everyone was like more depressed than usual.
Well, if you're feeling depressed right now, there's many reasons astrologically as to why.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, just right off the bat, we've got the planets Mars and Jupiter both moving through the sign Gemini.
Okay.
So Gemini is the sign of like splits, divorces, animosity, abortions, duality. So it's like all of the things in life that like cut you in half. You know,
Dang.
Psychologically, emotionally, mentally, and otherwise. So Mars is like the sword of the zodiac. It's going to slice something. And Jupiter is like having 4 planets in one sign.
Yeah.
So you're going to know the good things about Gemini and also the bad things about it.
Dang.
So like maybe community-wise, like social media, we're seeing this big upsurgence of people like coming together, and you know, Ozempic is going around and everybody's talking about it. And
right.
Like there's this big community surge of like, oh, this is what's going on. But then we also have like an election year in front of us.
Yeah, that's probably what's been feeling a little fucked.
Yeah.
But.
So I'm just saying, like, Gemini is also one of the signs of the nervous system. So people feeling literally nervous or uneasy or anxious or just traumatized.
Yeah. Aw.
It's happening right now.
Everyone's feeling it.
Yes. And like we're also just coming out of Mercury.
Blow my nose. You guys, like, I wasn't feeling like very sneezy.
So demure.
When I was in Jamaica, which, guys, I just got back from Jamaica, I didn't have like allergies.
In Jamaica?
Yeah.
Well, that's.
And I come back here and I can't breathe. I'm like, fuck. But anyways, you guys, just a little small update before we jump into this episode. I know the last one that I put out with Brian was me, you know, having my announcement that I was going to take a break. For those who actually listen to the episode, y'all know that I'm going to be still putting out a few more episodes. So the final date for this year is September 23rd will be the last episode for the year. And after that, I will be taking a break.
Yes. And we're going to be doing some spiritual work together.
Yes. And that's why Danny's here. Well, 1, because like I miss him, but 2,
I miss you too.
I know it's been a really long time, but now that I will be having a break, we can hang out. But during the break, we plan to do ayahuasca.
That's right.
So
being led through a journey.
Yes, is that
Period.
what it is?
Yeah, an ayahuasca journey, an ayahuasca trip.
I know, and there's a lot of preparation, and I just have a lot of questions about it. So I know that we've talked about it before. I think honestly, I think it was like in 2022 that we did like an episode about ayahuasca, but just to like now, because it's actually happening and we're going to be doing it.
You're doing it.
I'm doing it.
I just want to throw it out there. Like the first time I was on your podcast was pre my own journey.
Yes.
And like now on the other side of it, I've lost 55 pounds. I've become a weightlifter. I've healed my eating disorder.
Aww.
Like my life has changed.
Yeah.
My business is really picking up. Like I feel like this has legitimately helped me.
Aww.
And I just, whatever you want to get out of this, I want to bring that medicine to you.
And also, like, when you first came on, you were still kind of like working on becoming a shaman. Now you're officially an ayahuasca shaman.
It's done.
And that was
period.
That was the spirits coming out and be like, period, bitch.
The ancestors have a lot to say.
For sure. Oh my God. But yeah, so a part of like my break, I will, I'm going to try to do a lot of healing and working on myself. And I believe ayahuasca can help me with that. So
now I have to sneeze.
Sneeze break. I think it's this room because I feel like I really.
Is it the incense?
The incense, yeah, it's probably because it's like
we
have like incense, just like fucking.
You can see it with the lights on and stuff.
Yeah,
in here.
And it's like just everything. All the doors and windows are closed, so we're just like in this.
We're hotboxing
like,
it in
we're
this.
Hotboxing it in here.
The spirits.
And also, like my cats just love being in this room, so I just feel like they just like make their mark everywhere. Sure. So probably another thing, but okay, so. Have you told the story here about how you became ayahuasca shaman? Because let's just start there. Because
I don't think I have.
First, let's go to the basics. What the fuck is ayahuasca?
Sure.
And then how the fuck do you become a fucking ayahuasca shaman?
Through a lot of traumatizing work.
Yes. Like, I know because you told me.
Yeah. And
then now what am I going to do? And I should take notes, actually. Maybe I'll take notes. I have my notebook over there.
Sure.
Like, what... Let's just like literally plan it out here. Like, when are we going to do it? What do I need to do for preparation? And what, all my questions to like what to look forward to.
Well, I believe you, me, and Nadej from Pleasure Science are all going to be doing it together. So shout out to Nadej. She's one of my best friends, one of your best friends too. We had dinner one time and we were talking about doing this and we were looking at Airbnbs and stuff. Yeah.
And we were supposed to do it like now, but then I end up having to go to Jamaica.
Yes.
Which is like, it's a good excuse.
This actually worked out because I got connected with this guy who is from where I'm from in Michigan. His brother's a lawyer.
Oh.
And his brother is helping me set up my ayahuasca church completely legally, above board. Wow. I'll be able to like advertise it.
Yeah.
This is going to go along with starting my own religion.
Yeah.
Which is like literally the purpose of my life.
Right.
Bringing astrology and plant medicine together.
Putting it together.
So okay. I feel like it's all coming together. It's all happening.
Yeah.
And it just fell out of the sky. So before we would not have we probably wouldn't. It's better that we're doing it now because
there's like legal.
It's all protected. It's all done in integrity and the right way.
And like not illegally. Because it's honestly, because what I know with ayahuasca is like you really shouldn't just be doing it and like go pick it up from your like local drug dealer who you also probably get Molly from.
I have never.
Right, you know what I mean? Like don't trust those hoes. Like don't, like you should actually go with like a professional, someone who's been trained like yourself.
That's right, baby.
Because it's not just like a fucking shroom trip. I mean, I feel like it's similar to a shroom trip.
Well,
is how
a shroom trip can be very recreational. I think shrooms are very much like Sagittarius energy. Like think of Nadej.
That's true.
She's like or like Nathan.
Nathan is the epitome of shrooms.
He is shrooms. Yeah. Like shrooms are like psychedelic, cartoon-esque. There's something very airy-fairy about them, like Bugs Bunny vibes.
Like nothing is so serious.
Yes, that's what shrooms are.
Yeah.
That's the plant medicine behind it.
Yeah, and I love doing shrooms.
I haven't done shrooms a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done a lot.
Well, I don't really have a lot of experience with them. Really? I've microdosed in the past.
Okay, but you never had like a real shroom strip.
I did once when I went to the beach and I was trying to go to Will Rogers Beach where all the gays hang out.
Yeah.
And then I went to the wrong sector of Will Rogers. So I took this the cap at the beach, went into the water, swam for about 45 minutes. I come out, I'm wearing this tiny Speedo and this family is there with their daughter and they're just looking at me like, what the fuck?
Like, who is this man in a tiny Speedo?
And I was like, this is not where the gays are. Oh my God. So that was like my one shroom trip and it was just like
it could be scary if you're not feeling safe.
I did not feel safe. Yeah. And I was by myself in nature.
And that's scary. So thankfully I've only had very positive experiences.
Yeah. Well, it was also like during the pandemic. So everybody when you weren't at the beach, you would walk past them. Everybody had masks on.
Right.
Like that was like a very scary period. That's okay. So
scary time. You're also like being paranoid about germs.
Yeah, it was just not the correct set or setting, and that was, yeah. I had experienced acid like back in 2014.
I've never done acid.
Girl, I know some people live by it and they swear by it, but in 2014 I had done acid and I had like the worst PTSD response afterwards.
Oh, dang.
I had to like go on an antidepressant. I had to like,
because what I feel like I remember just kind of categorizing acid as similar to like shrooms. Like it would be like a very similar trip.
yeah.
But acid is more like
it's a synthetic
cooked.
made. Yeah,
right.
it's
synthetic.
made.
Yeah.
Whereas mushrooms are grown from the earth.
Yeah.
I think both of these things can actually remove the veil between here and, you know, beyond this reality.
Yeah.
And one of the people that I had done acid with was an ex-drug addict.
Oh, shit.
So I think what happened was his demons that led him to be a drug addict crawled into me. Because after that experience, he was like, I feel the best I've ever felt my whole life. I feel amazing.
And you're like, because you took my energy, you soul-sucking bitch.
Well, and I literally became like the most depressed I had ever been my entire life. Like
it's almost like it just switched.
Literally, we like energetically traded bodies. It was like Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh my god, it's crazy. Actually,
so
who's Lindsay?
Yeah, me clearly.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the worst experiences of my life.
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, now that I'm a trained shaman and I work with ayahuasca, I take this stuff like way more seriously now because we've been so basically the story of becoming a shaman.
Yeah. Or like, what is ayahuasca first?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. So ayahuasca, the ayahuasca vine grows in Peru. And it is this vine, it's also available in other parts of the world, but it's the vine of the soul. So if you prepare ayahuasca by itself.
But where's the vine growing from?
In Peru.
But it's like on a tree?
Oh, it's like a vine that's part of a tree. Like the ayahuasca tree with its vine.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
you know?
cool.
So it's like a vine. It's got this really elaborate, almost looking like DNA strand kind of vine. And
who fucking thought of this? Like, who was the first person that was like, this is lit?
So the legend is that there was somebody who went into the forest and they had like a vision from the forest that if you take this one specific vine and this one specific plant and brew them together into this like potion, that it'll like show you the visions. So somebody literally just like had a vision from nature, and then these plants are.
I think they were just trying to get fucked up.
Well, the plants are found initially they were found thousands of miles, like 1,000 miles away from each other or something.
Okay.
And somebody just thought to take this and put them together, and then like. So the way that it works is if you cook the ayahuasca vine by itself, it is a purgative. So what it does is it'll make you vomit, shit, puke, like it purges. It's a cleaning tool.
Okay.
But for some reason, when you mix ayahuasca with this plant called chacruna, which is just a green plant, chacruna has DMT in it. And in fact, most green plants have some level of DMT in it. But when you use chacruna specifically with ayahuasca, it's then able to cross the blood-brain barrier, the DMT. So otherwise, you don't get the DMT in your body. It's very scientific.
Yeah. What's DMT?
DMT is the molecule that's released when you're born and when you die that causes you to have like really intense psychedelic visions. So
Can you die from ayahuasca?
You know, I've heard stories of people like on an ayahuasca retreat where they have died. But I mean, I've done 66 ceremonies at this point in my life.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's okay.
I have to do a little.
I've done 66 journeys at this point in my life. And I've never seen anybody like even have anything remotely
You've
close.
done this a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But I've also never witnessed somebody pooped their pants once on one of the retreats that I was on.
That's gonna
be me. We'll get you a diaper.
Yeah.
Broke growth therapy. But yeah, the likelihood of dying, like there's a medical screening process that happens first. So what I always say is ayahuasca is not a toy. It's not something that we're like just going
Let's just get fucked up and get some ayahuasca.
Right. Like for people who like recreational shroom use, like do your thing. I'm not going to tell people what.
Right.
But in regards to working with ayahuasca, it's going to be way more important to make sure that you plan the journey beforehand. Yeah. And like that you're safe and you're medically screened and you have to eat a specific diet beforehand.
That's what I'm nervous about, but we'll get into that when we get into that.
I'll help you. I'm literally going to teach you.
Like, how am I supposed to like prepare ayahuasca to help me with my eating disorder by doing something that's so against my eating disorder?
Right. Well, you find...
Or my disordered eating.
Sure. I mean, either way, it's... you know, it's just about finding a cleaner, healthier way of doing things. And I mean, this is no secret, but here in the United States, a lot of our food is filled with preservatives. It's filled with like different seasonings or different things.
Trash
Yeah. And I mean, in other parts of the world, there are tons of laws against having certain things in your food. And like here in the United States, they don't really care.
So fucked up.
And in fact, the Food and Drug Administration like kind of wants us to get addicted and that kind of stuff.
Literally.
So what we might call an eating disorder could just be a response to the foods that we're eating.
That's so true.
You know, so once you realize that it's less about like you're not the problem, but it's like the environment that you're in could be a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
Like you were just in Jamaica.
Oh yeah, and I was telling you how we did this whole like tour.
Yes.
A plant-based couple that like own this 17-acre land. They're called Stush the Bush. If you guys want to check it out.
Stush the Bush.
Shout out to Stush the Bush. It's like they have like 17 acres of this land, and they eat very plant-based. The wife is like a chef, and the guy is like a very Rastafarian, earthy dude. Yeah. And so it's like a tour of just like the land and all the plants that are very like medicinal and like you know what they grow and stuff like that. And everything we ate was just like the cleanest. It was probably the cleanest meal I've ever had because it was
amazing.
And I felt great. Yeah, it was just like all plant based, grown from like their garden. It was such an incredible experience. And I was like, damn. But yeah.
So like, what if we had like fast food joints here in the United States that like promoted plant based foods or super organically grown meats and stuff? Like,
why don't we? And that could easily be done, but they don't want that.
McDonald's, they're just throwing their pink slime out there.
But like, why is that not a thing?
Right. You have to follow a specific diet. There needs to be a medical screening process, and then we really need to talk about like, why do you want to do ayahuasca? What's your intention of doing this?
Yeah. What's the medical screening process?
And so basically, there's like a bunch of things that you have to ask somebody beforehand. Like, have you done psychedelics before?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done them before. You haven't had any issues. There's like, you ask about the history of certain like mental disorders. Like, do you suffer from bipolar or a few other things? And like, you know.
Like, would you give it to someone who's like schizophrenic?
It's not recommended to give it to anybody who suffers with schizophrenia.
Yeah.
I actually know somebody who was like predisposed to schizophrenia and they didn't know it, and then they did ayahuasca and then
they got
now they have to like take medication.
Oh shit.
So it's really important. Like,
what do you mean predisposed?
So he had like some symptoms of it before, but nothing that was like enough for him to like be seeking medical attention. And then after his experience of having done it, like he really started developing some mental issues.
Because like I have like people in my family who are schizophrenic.
Yeah, but you've done psychedelics before.
Yeah.
So this
I had a great time at a ball.
There you go. So this is what sets you apart from them, is that you have actually had experiences before, and you know, it's something where it's not as much of a concern for you.
Okay.
And especially you and I know each other really well too.
Yeah,
so sometimes what can happen to people on a journey like that, if they're working with a shaman in the middle of Peru, they're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
right. Yeah.
You know, but like we know each other.
So there'll be like a safetyness with that.
Yes. And if something was wrong, you could just tell me.
Right.
And I could be like, okay, let's like get you some help. Or there's a drink that you can give people while they're on ayahuasca to make the trip stop.
Oh,
if it's really that bad.
I like that because I like to know that like I could just
there's an out if you
there's
need
an
it.
out if I'm just like ready to tap out, like I can't take it, you know.
Yeah.
Because like just in case, I don't know.
You never know. So
but I'm like so excited. I love like the unknown. Like I'm a little bit of just like, what's gonna happen? Like even if I know it's gonna be like I might see the fucking devil, and I'm just like, let's see.
What are your demons, boo? What are the things? Basically, what ayahuasca does is it's like your soul is like a computer. You've got your cookies, you've got your files, you've got all of your stuff, and what it does is it finds the files in your soul that are not like dealt with.
Yeah.
It's the traumas and the pains and the things that you haven't like looked at or processed, or like you didn't even realize was a problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, have you ever, you know, during like a session realized that there was like something
traumatic
you've never really?
Yes.
Can you share?
Absolutely.
What was it?
So I remember that one of the times that I did ayahuasca, it was my 15th ayahuasca journey. I remember it very clearly. And when I was a little boy, my grandpa and I shared a room.
Yeah.
And I like just hated him because I had to share a room with him.
Oh no, is this a sexual?
No, there's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing sexual. I just hated him.
Yeah.
Like because I had to share the room with him.
Okay.
So like, you know, and then that just led to me like not liking him. And he didn't speak English, and I'm very much like small town boy at that time, like didn't know how to speak Spanish. So I was frustrated with him. And then like I've always had allergies my whole life, so I would always like touch my nose as a way of like scratching it.
Yeah.
And he would always comment on it, and it felt like he was like making fun of me.
Yeah.
So the ayahuasca had me relive all of that memory. And then it took me to the memory of us in the hospital when he was on his deathbed. And I remember thinking, like, when he was dying, like, I felt no love towards him. I just, like, there was no warmth, no empathy, no sadness about his life passing. So, like, that's really serious.
That's very,
So I saw all of that, and I remember started thinking, like, oh, my gosh, like, what was I holding a grudge over? The fact that I had to, like, share a room.
Right.
And there was, like, 2 beds in that room. So, like, you know?
Like, why am I holding that?
Yeah, why was I holding on to that? And unconsciously, I think there was a part of me that was still holding on to that to some extent. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, I really wish I could, like, apologize and tell my grandpa that I'm sorry. And then all of a sudden, his soul entered the vision.
Oh.
And I, like, felt it. Like, I knew I could feel that he was, like, there with me. And I was like, oh, my God, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, you're sorry?
Aww.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was, like, an asshole to you when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, like, I was just, I understood that the reason that he would always comment on me touching my nose was because we didn't speak the same language.
Yeah.
So he was just, like, trying to find some way to, like, make a joke with me
and try to like bond with you.
Yes.
Because you guys weren't all speaking the same language.
Yes. So like, so I got to like heal that.
Oh, that's sweet.
And like, what is that called? Venerate.
I think you did tell me this, but that's so sweet.
Well, it's still like a cool story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like, that's like one of the things that was like in my soul that was like an outstanding action item to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Like, forgive your grandpa.
Right.
You know, but like, and also like come to peace with him.
Right.
Or like other things are, you know, traumatic family dynamics and like forgiving a sibling or forgiving a loved one or for just like stupid fights or
demons.
Yeah, girl.
Or not even call them demons, just some things.
Well, that's what ayahuasca's for.
I'm scared.
Yeah. But also like
I'm excited.
I know in your birth chart your destiny sign is Capricorn, and that's my rising sign.
Yeah.
So like part of your destiny, it's easy for us to relate to each other.
Yeah.
The bigger work is for you to become like me, but not like, oh, you got to become like
ayahuasca shaman. Yeah.
Exactly. It's more like becoming resilient. Because like when I was in Peru, I fasted for 44 days.
That's crazy. Like, can we just talk about like your journey of becoming an ayahuasca shaman?
Sure.
Like that was insane.
Sure. So basically I left California in I decided in January of 2023 that I was going to move back to Michigan because on January 11th, I had a breakup with my ex. He was going through some really intense personal stuff and like some mental health issues and it just totally blew up. Yeah. And that's when I was like, I don't know if I like feel really good being here right now. So I called my parents and I was like, can I move back home? And they're like, sure. So what I did was I started like getting rid of all my stuff. I sold my favorite keyboard. I sold my bookshelf. I started selling my table, all my dishes. Like I got rid of everything. And then I packed up as much as I kept and put it in my car and drove to Michigan.
Jeez, by yourself?
My dad flew in from Michigan, so we drove cross country. But I remember it was the day that Saturn entered Pisces was the day that I like went back to Michigan. And the next like 6 months or whatever from March until end of June, I began planning my trip. So I started getting all the stuff together, contacting the head shaman. I went through the Ayahuasca Foundation, which is an incredible organization in Peru. They hold like a shaman school. So it's a 2-month program. Yeah. Okay. So there were people from all over the world. There was one woman from Taiwan, one girl from Michigan, which is where I'm from. So that was crazy. A guy from Portland, another guy from Seattle area. And like just people from Australia. It was like such a cool experience to get to go there. And when I got there, like initially I flew into Lima with my parents, and then we spent about a week together, and I ate as much fucking food as I could possibly handle.
It's like you're about to not.
Yeah, because I'm about to not have food for like 2 months. But I didn't know that really going into it.
Yeah.
I was planning on eating, but you'll hear the rest of the story. So after we went to Lima, then we had to take I took a plane by myself to the city called Iquitos. So the only way to get to Iquitos is either by flight or by boat. There's no roads that will take you to Iquitos. Yeah. So it's this very witchy, spiritual, like it's pretty close to the jungle. And there's people that are like, they know that Americans come there all the time to do ayahuasca. So there's like a lot of shady stuff that happens around the city, like theft or I don't know, just different things. There's people vending and selling things all the time.
Yeah.
So once I got to Iquitos, the head of the Shipibo tribe, which is the tribe that I went to study with to learn the ayahuasca customs and everything, he came and he put me in a taxi and or not a taxi, but one of his guys came, picked me up, and then he sent me off like 3 hours into the Amazon jungle by car. Ooh. So I'm just like in the car speaking to this guy. Nobody speaks English because it's Peru. So I'm like practicing my Spanish. Luckily, I do speak Spanish. And then eventually, like, I got to the property, and that began 2 months of living, like, in this container where we didn't leave. We left for, like, a weekend after the first month to go back into the city. Yeah. But basically, everybody was there to become a shaman or to study to become a shaman. It's the curandero training program. So curandero is just somebody who, like, cures, curanderismo, shamanism. Yeah. It's basically the same thing. And I had like a little house that I lived out of. Some of them were made of straw. The one that I was in was made of concrete. Yeah. And we did ayahuasca Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
It's very earthy.
Yeah. And there was like tons of butterflies and animals, and they had monkeys, and it was just like a really interesting experience. Yeah. And they had a chef who would cook for us. So it was this girl, her name was Gabriela. She was 23 years old. And they would bring in food weekly. So things like potatoes, carrots, fish, chicken. The chicken was a whole controversial thing.
Why?
Oh, my God. So you're not supposed to be like eating chicken when you're doing the rituals that we were doing. But like I traded a jar of honey to one of the girls to give chicken to one of the guys that was on the course. Yeah. And then like it became this whole big issue.
Like, why did you do that?
Yeah, and I got in trouble for trading a jar of honey. God. But I brought like lollipops and jars of honey and like things to give to the villagers that we were living with. And I was like, can you make my friend chicken? And she did. And then like the facilitators of the organization got upset with me.
Holy shit, not you being a rebel.
It was the administration was on to me. Oh my God. And then there was like one time when everybody pitched in money to get chicken from a rotisserie chicken place, and the head of the tribe like took the money and then he bought chicken for everybody, but then only gave it to the tribe members and didn't share it with like the people on the course. I think there was some kind of misunderstanding that happened. Because again, like they only speak Spanish. The majority of the people on the course only spoke English.
Right. So there's a lot of miscommunication.
Yes. So that was Chicken Gate. Like that was like a whole, literally it was like the biggest drama.
I can't.
It was so crazy. But basically we would do ayahuasca Mondays, Wednesdays.
And also you have a bunch of starving fucking people.
Well, like, everybody, there was food, so there was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, except on the nights that we did ayahuasca, they didn't serve dinner because you don't want to do it on a full stomach. Right. But they would make things like eggs and soups and rice and boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, and this most delicious like banana cake that you just make out of like bananas, and there was one other ingredient. So that's banana and eggs, I think it was. Oh, wow. But it was like delicious. Yeah. So, but yeah, so we would do ayahuasca Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we would take classes during the day. So we would learn like how to bless somebody. We learned the language. We learn how to sing these medicine songs, how to hold a ceremony.
I've seen you I've heard you sing those songs before. Yeah. Like, Is that where you memorized and learned it from?
Yeah, they gave us like a whole spell book of like
wow.
20 indigenous songs and the translations, and it comes with like a dictionary of what those songs mean. And like I would never give this information to anybody unless they like started studying with me as a student, because it's like so sacred to what we learned. But
that's crazy.
They also taught us how to be like vegetalistas and like how to prepare plant medicines. Like there's one plant that if somebody's having really bad luck, you can like have somebody bathe in that.
Oh, wow.
And it like breaks bad luck. And you know, so it was an amazing experience. And we learned how to like do exorcisms and how to like remove dark entities from people. And and how to like cleanse someone's spirit. And it was an amazing.
Need an exorcism?
We're gonna get to that. No, we're probably gonna do a few exorcisms on you.
Really? You think? You think I like have a devil in me?
I don't think it's so. When I say exorcism, I mean like getting the light into you.
Okay.
And pushing the darkness out.
Okay.
So like things like an eating disorder is a demon. At least I believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? Or like
that little fucker needs to get the fuck out of here.
Or like
he
another
needs to be kicked out, evicted, and like gone.
Or the other way is like you can integrate it. So like becoming a weightlifter is how I've learned to deal with my eating disorder. And now I eat a lot, but
you lift it. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm strong.
Yeah.
So like that's a good strategy for that.
Yeah.
So exorcism or integration, it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
Because like for some people, maybe they have a lot of shame about being gay. So are you going to exorcism, like are you going to exorcise the gay out of them, or are you going to help them integrate
That's true.
You know?
Like make them straight. Like this is a wrong.
Yeah. Well, and that's like another part of like the Shipibo tribe experience is it's a very conservative culture. You know, that's just part of how it is when you're in the middle of the jungle. So they're not like the most keen on gay people. So I wasn't communicating to anybody that I was gay. And like, you know?
You just weren't.
Yeah. So my intention as I like start my own ayahuasca entity and faith-based organization is that I want to make it like a queer friendly space, diversity friendly, like it's open to everybody as long as they're open to healing.
Yeah.
So
okay. So what were the steps to like become a shaman?
So I started my journey with this way before I ever went to the Ayahuasca Foundation.
Yeah.
So I have a teacher in Oakland, California who had been blessed through the tribe to be able to serve ayahuasca way like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I studied with her privately for about 5 years before she said, okay, it's probably about time now. I asked her, I was like, I want to go. Like, when can I go? And then when my life was falling apart, she had said to me a couple years prior to me going like, you know, it's time to go to the jungle when your life is falling apart.
Dang.
And I was like, oh, great.
Right.
So when it was falling apart, I was like, I know what to do. And she taught me maybe like 2 medicine songs, maybe 3 before I went to the jungle. And yeah, by the time you actually get there, you take this course, you learn how to do like the different blessings and how to actually like navigate the space. They teach you like when you see certain things in your visions, how to understand your ayahuasca visions, how to properly screen someone medically, how to do everything in integrity.
Yeah.
And then they always say, if you want to be a shaman, you need discipline, concentration, and faith. Like those are the things that they just repeat again and again and again.
Yeah. And as a shaman, like, what do you do? Like, if when I take ayahuasca, I'm taking it with Nadej. She's also going to be joining us. Yeah. Like, so we're going to be tripping on this shit. What are you doing?
So basically the way that it works is like we all drink it. Ideally beforehand, like not ideally, this is what you do. You've been medically screened. We've talked about your intention as to why you're doing this. You've been following the diet for at least, ideally a month beforehand. And
what if I don't?
It's just going to be more hard for you. Like if you don't do the diet very well and then you come into the ceremony, like worst thing you can do is eat like a pork loin beforehand.
Okay. What if I had like a whole bag of hot Cheetos?
Really bad.
Because it's going to have to throw that up.
Yeah, you're going to throw it up.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's going to be intense.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No, of course. But
because I know I'm going to be purging.
Right.
Like I'm going to be like, so I don't think I would want anything spicy.
Right. Oh my God. It's actually recommended not to have anything spicy 7 days before.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
that shit will.
You got to make sure like you're clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're well prepped for the ceremony. And then before I like to have people like write a little contract about like what it is that they're going to do or like what their intention is. Yeah. And there's even one of the medicine songs talks about like sending your prayers to God and like this scroll or this piece of paper that you've written on going to the heavens.
Yeah.
So like part of my journey as an ayahuasca shaman is helping people make their wishes come true or like wish fulfillment, intention fulfillment. So we'd get into the ceremony. Everybody would go around the circle and just say why they're there. And set an intention and tell the universe why they're there. You sage the room, put Palo Santo, maybe set up some Reiki protection around the room. It's like protecting the space. And then everybody drinks. And after you drink the ayahuasca, you wait for about...
And you're not taking it, obviously.
Or... Oh, no, the shaman takes it too.
Oh, the shaman takes it too?
Yeah,
okay.
Because while I'm on the ayahuasca and you're on the ayahuasca... the universe and God and everything is like present.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, like we can see the same things.
Okay.
You know?
So like when okay.
So like if there's a big white light that comes into the room, like we're going to see. Yeah. You know? So it's
white light.
Yes. There's a song specifically for bringing the white light in.
Whoa. What's the white light?
The light of Noya Rao. So at the property that we lived in Peru, there's these trees called the Noya Rao trees. Yeah. So these are the trees of enlightenment. Yeah. And there's only 7 of them in the world. And I think like 2 of them are on the property that we were staying at. So this tree is enlightened, meaning that it grows a bioluminescent algae on it. So this blue algae that literally makes the tree glow in the dark. So it's enlightened. It lights up.
Yeah.
And when you diet this tree, meaning you drink it with ayahuasca, what it does is it gives you psychedelic visions into your soul's destiny and purpose. Oh. So when I did this plant, it showed me like I'm meant to bring the next major religion to the world.
Yeah.
Like I'm meant to show and share the energy of God and astrology and plant medicine and like, you know, help
what's going to happen to like my brain?
Well,
what's the scientific?
Sure. So ayahuasca definitely works with different hemispheres of the brain. It's really important that you're off of any SSRIs, antidepressants, anything like that, because it messes with the serotonin in your brain.
How about my Adderall?
Yeah, you have to get off of Adderall beforehand. So, you know, this is part of the weaning process. And as you are getting off of like different medications, you want your brain to just be as like kind of natural as possible.
Yeah.
And from there, the goal is like, because it does mess with the serotonin in the brain, we don't want anything to cause you to like die. So that's why you got to get off the SSRIs.
Oh, dang.
Because that's what
would cause. Yeah. Like if I took an Adderall that day.
I don't know about Adderall specifically, but I know it's like that's an upper and ayahuasca is and everything. You know, it's an upper, a downer. It's like
you just don't want to.
There's no mixing.
How about weed?
Absolutely not.
Really?
So weed falls under the plant medicine zodiac sign of Taurus.
Okay.
So it's about like getting into your body.
Yeah.
Getting into the physical world and chilling out and slowing down, like
and vibing, whatever.
Yes, it's very physical.
So they recommend don't smoke weed the day of, or like
you need to wean it off for like at least 2 to 4 weeks beforehand.
Ooh, Ryan's gonna.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because weed, it's a comfort plant.
Yeah.
Its purpose is to bring you comfort.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca is a Scorpio, the opposite sign. Its purpose is like ego death.
Right.
To take you to the underworld, the shadows, psychological warfare. Like,
so what's going to happen to me? So like, okay, so we sip this drink. You take it with 2. It's going to be me, you, and Nadej.
Yeah. And we're all sitting
in this Airbnb. We'll try to find like nature. Maybe it'll be like a really cool like backyard or something. Right. Like, do we just sit there?
We sit for maybe, we can do it inside. You know, there's no problem.
Whatever we feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But you sit there for like 30 to 45 minutes in silence. And we just wait. Because it's got to cross the blood-brain barrier. You have to digest it a little bit.
We can't have a conversation while we wait?
You wait in silence.
You're like, you need to shut the fuck up, bitch.
This bitch.
Like, shut the fuck up, right?
Unthinkable. So we sit in silence, and you just like wait for it to come on.
Yeah.
And then once it starts coming on,
can I be like, Do you feel anything? Can I at least say something?
I mean, it's just recommended that you just wait.
Okay, I'll shut up.
You just wait. If you say anything, I'm not gonna punish you. You know, like it's just when my teachers led ceremonies, it's like 12 to 25 people in a room. So like,
everyone's just quiet.
There's no chatter. You know,
that makes me nervous. Maybe I need to figure out why.
Well,
silence sometimes is like a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I feel like I have to like break the silence.
Yeah.
So I'm like that person. I mean, it's probably my ADHD.
Probably. And like the idea of having to sit still.
Yeah.
Like your brain thrives off of dopamine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're taking this serotonin inducing thing. Like it's just working with a different part of your brain.
So we sit there for like 30, 45 minutes. How do you know it like sets in?
So I feel like for me, it's always, I always see like a blue rose.
A blue rose.
A blue rose. The spirits always send me a blue rose, and that's how I know like it's starting to come on.
Whoa.
And then after the blue rose happens.
And blue is like a very calming color.
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably why.
I mean, that's what I see. You might not see the blue rose, but that's a big part of like.
Please, ancestors, spirits, give me something pretty and nice.
Then I start to see like this departure into the underworld.
A departure?
Do you
like actually see yourself just like.
Well, I don't see myself. I know that I'm going down.
Like it just gets dark.
Well, I start seeing like different landscapes, different monsters, and like entities.
What
and
if I
beings.
look at you guys and you guys are like shaped as like?
I don't think that'll happen.
Like scary.
That's never happened. I've never looked at somebody and they weren't what they actually were.
Okay.
Like it's almost like augmented reality where like you just kind of see.
It's almost like we're in front of a green screen and then everything.
Yeah, kind of like that. And like if you close your eyes, like you're just in the other world.
Okay.
So, but as this departure is happening, then basically it's like going into that darkness, that shadow, and that's when I'll begin singing. And
your singing is so beautiful.
Oh,
and it's
thank
like
you.
In this another language. Oh my god, I'm gonna trip the fuck.
Well, and it's
really gonna put me in a trance.
The songs make you trip harder. That's why the singing is part of it.
Yeah, I understand. Because like, even when you just did a Reiki thing on me and I'm like completely sober and you're like singing, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm already like tripping on something. I remember thinking like, should I be on shrooms right now? Like it was like I need, you know. And so I can't imagine like being. Oh, I'm excited.
So all right, so we're starting to feel the trip.
Okay.
And like you know it, and I know it, and
yes.
like
we're
everybody knows it.
Like,
Ooh, it's happening.
We're in a different dimension.
Yeah, exactly. And then what I'll do is I'll start singing. You know, and like just the melodies, like these melodies will start to come through, and the melodies do something, the songs do something, the words do something. So like first we got to set up the protection of the room. Like that's the best place to start with an ayahuasca ceremony. Protect the space. So there's a song for that. Then we want to call in the ancestors. But the ancestors, like
they love it. They want to come in here.
They do want to come in.
Like yes.
Like your ancestors, like how my grandpa came.
Yeah.
He came to me. But also like the ancestors of like the spirit of fire or the earth or water or the wind or the toucan, like whatever.
Like, Stefanie, what the fuck are you doing, ayahuasca? Don't do drugs.
Oh my god! But like
screaming at me in a Filipino accent.
There you go.
Like,
oh my god!
I'm just trying to heal y'all's trauma too here, bitch. The fuck, like you did this.
Period.
Right.
So after that's done, then we get to like diagnosis. So I already know your birth chart, so that helps me like diagnose you to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But then like there's songs for me to like start opening up your files.
What are you gonna diagnose me as?
Well, it's not like that kind of diagnosis. It's not like, oh, you have this and this.
Yeah.
It's more like I can all of a sudden like I start searching your soul.
Okay.
And seeing like, okay, where are there outstanding things that need to be dealt with? And then those things come forward.
And do I like have to talk it out with you?
No. This is all done. Like you'll know what's happening.
Am I closing my eyes?
Yeah, your eyes are closed.
Do I have to keep it closed? Can I open it?
If you open them, you're just still gonna see the same thing.
Oh,
it's just like then you'll see the real world overlaid on it.
Oh, so it's like might as well just like
you might as well just
close. Can I lay down?
Yeah, you are laying down.
Okay.
You can sit up if you want.
Okay.
So it's fine. Or
what
you can
if I
sit
fall
up
asleep?
That's fine too.
Do people fall asleep?
Yeah, I've fallen asleep on ayahuasca journeys before.
Is that like than what happens in my dreams. Because I'm a bitch that falls asleep quick.
Here's the thing is like, it's even when you fall asleep, it's still like.
Your subconscious is still.
But like you're still awake. It's so weird.
Wow.
Like you're asleep and you're tripping.
That's what I felt about like when I did my sound bath in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I fell asleep. Now Tia Mori knows I fucking snore, but that's okay. But I still felt like I was very much like my subconscious was very much awake.
Yeah. So like that's like what it's like.
But I'm sure like on a
so like you could it could feel like you're dreaming, but like also you're fully aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
All right. So after we do,
but I don't want to fall asleep. I want to be like in it. You know,
girl, you'll be in it.
Okay.
Believe me. Like
now I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep.
I think you're gonna like. There's too much of a light show.
I might be too excited.
Yeah.
To like fall asleep. You're right.
So like we've just done the diagnosis. Like I can see like, oh, there's this thing here, or like maybe I'll see like a demon that's attached to you, and like it could be in the form of like a knot. So we have to like untie it, or this one's in the form of a stain, so we have to wash it, or this one's in the form of like.
Wait, hold on. So like if let's say it's in the form of a stain,
sure,
I'll see it, and then I just grab some from like
no
soda.
No.
Like
spiritually,
okay.
You tell the spirits what to do as the shaman. So I would literally be like, say the word and the language for like wash.
Okay.
Wash. Washing is being done. I'm washing you. Washing is being done. I've washed you. Like you literally just sing what you want to happen.
Okay.
And the spirits do it.
Oh.
So I know it sounds crazy, y'all, but this shit actually works. Like.
Shit, we like a little crazy on this show.
So like there's that, or like if you've got like a cloud, we can like liberate you from the cloud.
Yeah.
Or like there's just all of these different cleaning words. So after the diagnosis stage, then
how would you know? Do you have to ask?
I could I could see it.
Could see it.
I can literally see it on you.
Will I be able to see it on Nadej or you?
I don't think so.
Okay,
you have to like
I'd have to like understand and get training and like
like the shaman. It goes through a lot of training to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah. Like, would I be able to see, like, at least what Nadej is going through? Like, no. It's
like the shaman, because I've been given the rite of passage. I don't know why this works this way, but, like, you don't get to see what everyone else is experiencing.
Oh, this is crazy.
Sometimes, like, you'll experience something that was, like, I've been in ceremonies where, like, 3 different people saw Beyonce.
Oh my God.
Like the spirit of Beyonce was like floating through the room or something.
That's crazy. That's hilarious.
And then people were like, "Did you guys see it?" And they're like, "Oh my God, me too, Beyonce!" Like, but not that Beyonce's spirit was actually in the room.
Right, but they saw
they were feeling the spirit of Beyonce, and
right.
that presence was there.
That's crazy.
You know, just because that's like a pop culture icon.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's a shared experience. Oh. Or one time my shaman was like, I don't know why, but I want to call the Muppets in. And the guy who was next to me was a puppeteer. And he like literally that night got the inspiration for his next puppet show.
Wow.
He said he had all of these visions of the Muppets and stuff. And they didn't know that from one to the other. So like this stuff is really like it's the psychic realm.
That's crazy.
So after we do all of the cleaning songs and all of that, then there's like the calming energy, and like after you've been washed and taken care of and all of that, and hopefully you've had an exorcism and thrown up.
Are my eyes gonna like roll back?
No, it's not like that. When I say exorcism, I just mean like maybe you threw up.
Oh dang!
Like we've got an entity out of you, or like we washed it off of you literally, you know?
Yeah.
Because there is like spirit water that you can put on people too. So after that, then we get to like the calming energy. Sometimes like ayahuasca ceremonies are really fun.
Yeah.
And like funny, and like there's like a lot of camaraderie in the room.
Aww.
And sometimes they're really intense and dark, and like you're healing generational trauma. You're healing.
Yeah. So there could be like, because I know you said it feels like you're going into the underworld. So there's moments where it does feel like very like optimistic.
Yeah, there can be times where like you see the light of God.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God. Like,
and what does that mean?
Well, we talk about this Noya Rao tree. It's like your connection to your divine soul's purpose. So like I've had visions of like my soul's destiny and like what I'm here to do on this planet. And like, who doesn't want to see that?
Right.
And like, it's happy. It's good.
Yeah. So you're excited.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be like, well, wait. Yeah, that's true.
Like the times that it's hard is when you have to like mourn something.
Yeah.
Like, let's say one of the outstanding things in your soul is like you never fully mourned the fact that this parent treated you this way, or like this happened to you, or when you were 6, you were on the playground and somebody said this to you. Like, these are things that your soul can hold on to.
That's true.
You know, and like just to like have a space where you can like cry it out. And I mean like from the trenches of your soul, like, like crying it out.
Wow.
So that can be part of it too. And like these what we call demons, but really it's just energetic.
Yeah.
Energetic entity, energetic space, frequency, vibration. There's a million words we can use. I'm a shaman. I like the word demon.
Yeah. These
things contribute to being overweight, having mental illness, being depressed, like anxiety, ADHD, brain fog, like you know.
Oh wow. I know. Let me predict.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's do like because we will have you back on obviously next year when you know we've gone through this experience.
Well, it's cool that like you're about to take this hiatus and we're about to like do this journey into the underworld.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to like wait until.
Sorry, bitches.
Yeah, but we'll definitely like one of the first episodes coming back. We'll definitely have like a conversation about it and like talk about what I've learned and everything.
What you saw,
what I saw, and what the experience was like, and I could maybe even articulate it from like my end, you know. But
I can tell you what I see.
Yeah, like it would be a whole thing. So definitely stay tuned for that one. But for right now, because we're already an hour in.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
We made progress.
We did. Imagine if we were in ayahuasca. This would have felt great.
The first hour is like the shortest, I feel like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it really bends your perception of time. So I remember I had worked in Peru with like some of the people there, and like we were doing it and leading the ceremony. I was like, they're like, what time is it? And I was like, it's only been an hour. And one of the girls was like, it feels like it's been eternity. So like after that 1 hour mark, it's just like it's your perception of time is just out the window.
Dang. Okay. So this is my prediction of what demons I will face. But, you know, of course, in the moment, there could be whatever demons are meant to face at that moment will come out. But now I think my prediction is definitely eating disorder and my, you know, like insecurities of my physical features. Definitely something with my parents. I feel like that's like you know, we all have trauma.
Everybody's got something.
Exactly. So I'm sure something's going to like pop off with like, you know, like something with my parents. I feel like maybe something with my dad more than my mom.
Okay.
Because I feel like with my mom, I think I've done more work and healing.
Isn't she a Libra?
She's a Libra.
Yeah,
she's crazy.
I
have a lot of Libra friends, which is
interesting.
But like, I don't really get I don't want to say I don't get along with my mom because it's different now as an adult, but growing up, we didn't vibe.
Right.
But I feel like in this world, I've done a lot more focus and healing on her and our relationship, and not, you know, I'm sure there's more maybe that I don't know, but I think there's a lot with my dad.
Yeah.
Because I think with my dad, I'm closer to my dad. However, my dad is not perfect.
Sure.
And I think there was a lot of things that I've realized about, I don't know, I always had this perception of my dad as being like the perfect dad growing up. Like, I'm like, he's the best. He's so loving. He's so sweet. Because my mom was so the opposite of that.
Right.
So I always found comfort in my dad. So to me, my dad was always this like guy I put on a pedestal of like greatness, you know? And then when I got older, like in my 20s is when I realized, oh wait, there's a lot of things that like actually are trauma.
Weren't perfect.
They're not perfect, you know? And I'm not saying like my dad's a horrible person, but it's like, he made a lot of horrible decisions, you know what I mean? And I think that those decisions have really affected me negatively, you know, or just affected me to be, you know. So I think there might be more about my dad. So I'm predicting that. Maybe I feel like I'm still have a lot of healing to do with my friendship breakups.
Okay.
So maybe something with that from like my high school friends. I wouldn't be surprised if something came up with that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I think those are kind of like my bigger, like or maybe like my insecurities of like my career, you know. I think I would hope to find more of a clear vision of my purpose, you know, and not make me because I feel like, I explained in my last episode, but I've been feeling a lot of like insecurities of what I was doing, like I've talked to you about it. So I think with this could help me maybe feel a lot more confident and have a very, a different perspective on it maybe. So yeah, those are my predictions, y'all.
Well, and we will be doing 2 nights in a row.
Oh yeah, yes. Which Nadej told me that, and I was like, fuck, we're doing it more than once?
Because the first night is just like you're going on a date. The second night is like you're going all the way.
Okay, because the first one is like we're just getting used to like we're introducing the drug
and maybe the ayahuasca,
not the drug, but
the medicine. The medicine. Maybe the ayahuasca is going to clean your gut out more the first night. Whereas the second night, it's like okay, you've already had a night of like intense cleaning. The second night is like let's go for the breakthroughs.
Yes. So, okay.
It's very.
Do you think because you've done it?
66 times.
66 times. Do you feel like at each time you unlock something different?
Yes.
Like, is it?
You learn something different. It's like you're going to go be a student to the universe. Yeah. And the universe has like infinite knowledge. So like it'll always give you something that you don't know, or like show you something that you haven't seen, or help you experience something, and like.
There's always something to like unlock. Yeah. Essentially.
And I mean, there have been times where maybe I like reviewed something, but it was like important that I reviewed. That at that moment in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Can ayahuasca be an addictive medicine?
No.
Okay.
Ayahuasca makes you throw up.
Okay.
And it makes you shit. Like it's not fun to take.
Yeah.
It's a trauma healing tool.
Yeah.
It's like. I feel like weed is more addictive than ayahuasca.
For sure. Because it's something you could like kind of easily do every day.
Yeah.
And, like,
you can
drinking too.
Yes. It's like you can do it to be comfortable with weed.
That's why I feel like, I mean, I could be completely wrong, you guys, but that's why I feel like Molly isn't necessarily, maybe it could be addicting, but like not for long because it like.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like just what I've seen with people, like I don't think I haven't experienced anyone necessarily being like, they fall into addiction of it where they literally cannot stop. But I feel like everyone who tries Molly for the first time gets super excited. They go through a phase where they do it like every weekend or a lot, and then they eventually stop because they're like, it strips away like dopamine. So like you go in like a come down that's so fucking strong that I think that it would scare anybody to not want to keep doing it, versus like I think alcohol where it's kind of like, not to
when you're done drinking you have a hangover, but then
you could kind of get over it and then it's fine,
and it's so ingrained in the culture.
Yes.
That's the if everybody was popping mollies on a weekend and it was legal, like you'd probably be seeing it everywhere for
sure. So
that's another big
difference. I don't know, but I could be wrong. There could be someone who's actually dealing with an addiction with it, so I don't know, but that's just what all
I can say is ayahuasca is not addictive.
Okay.
Like I think maybe there's people that are seekers that like to learn and they're spiritual, but like what ayahuasca does is it takes you and it takes your life and what you're good at, and then it figures out how to like clean you up a little bit, so that you can go be a better version of yourself out in the world.
Oh,
like it's really cool. And like for me, ayahuasca will like tutor me on astrology. So it like teaches me astrology while I'm in the ceremony. Like how weird is that?
That's cool.
But I've watched videos on this and other astrologers have said the same thing. Like,
oh dang,
it just takes what you know and it teaches you things. That's like part of it.
Oh, I'm so excited. What if it teaches me how to podcast better?
Girl, it probably will. Or it'll give you ideas of like what to do next, or like what's the next phase. And, maybe broke girl therapy is going to be about healing the broke girl inside. And then, You
guys, so stay tuned until next year. I know it's going to have a long time. I don't know. Or just, sorry. But yeah, so, whew. Anyways.
This is Broke Girl Therapy.
Plug yourself.
Okay. My name is Danny Santos, also known as Santos. And my business is called Santos and the Crystal Visions. You can find me at www.santoscrystalvisions.com or follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Santos Crystal Visions. If you want to book a private session with me, feel free to email me directly or find the links on my website. My email address is santosastrology@gmail.com. And I have my own podcast, which I need to bring back to life because it's been dead for like 2 years, called Astro Daddy Podcast. Find me. I also do leather competitions and I have a whole other side of my personality that's not just the spiritual stuff. So
right.
Love you guys.
Wait, so they can book ayahuasca sessions with you?
Once I get the church fully up, I mean, by the time this goes live, probably, I mean, me and this lawyer are going to work pretty fast. So it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm creating the religion as we speak.
Yeah. But they could also book like sound baths, astrology,
and I do
Reiki.
Readings over Zoom. So like, no matter where in the world you are, I have one client in Kuwait. Shout out to you, Miriam. I love you.
Oh, cute. Okay. Well, you guys follow me, Stefanie Maegan, or go to brocotherapy.com. I love you guys. And just a reminder, a few more episodes to go till the 23rd. He makes animal noises all the time.
or the.
You're so good at that. Okay, well, love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Growth therapy.